There's a version of power that wears heels on marble floors. That power that speaks in boardrooms, not just in boardrooms. It signs contracts. It goes beyond signing contracts. It also carries titles with armor. And then there's another version, Noks. A version that is quieter, a version that is unannounced, a version that is unimpressed by power, and even more so unimpressed with applause. So this season is about recalibration. It's about that subtle yet sacred shift of power. A shift from living a life that looks powerful to living one that feels true. I'm sure you can relate to that.
I can relate to that. Absolutely.
Before the release, there was performance. And before that alignment, there was achievement. And before that achievement, there was quiet. There was noise. But my sister, Noks, once held that authority. The kind that the world recognizes. But recognition is not the same as resonance. And success is not always the same as self. So in this conversation today, we are going to be exploring who Noks was living for before. What you had to shed, my friend. What emerged in silence. And what it means to build from truth instead of expectations. Because for me, Noks, sometimes power is not about command. It's not about clarity. It's about permission. It's about approaching things with clarity. It's about finally seeing yourself for who you are, not what the world is expecting you to be. So it's about maybe moving from authority to moving to influence, but influence that has depth, an influence that has presence, an influence that has alignment. And I am so excited, my sister, that you decided you were going to be my very first guest on this podcast, which is about silencing all this noise that shapes who we are.
Yes.
And coming out and living with authenticity. My name is Thulisile Galilekile. Ingane yakwaZulu. Uvebi uwabane. Ingane kaMamncube noVebi. And I would like to welcome my sister here, who is a very close friend and an amazing, amazing confidant, Noks. Welcome.
Thank you. You've taken me through a journey already, and I was thinking, oh my heavens. It's been 20 years, 2 decades that we have known each other. We knew each other from a foreign land, I would say, where we had left our parents' homes and we ended up meeting in Gauteng, looking for these influences we're talking about, looking for us to make an impact and power. So I'm grateful that I'm your first guest on this wonderful podcast, Thulisile. And I do believe that it will impact a lot of lives and it will really cause us as your audience to review ourselves, to revitalize, to rejuvenate, and to realign, recalibrate in your weight.
Exactly.
To recalibrate the power that we bring into the world. And thank you so much for being brave. You know, when you have your friend in such a powerful platform, sometimes things may, tend to be ordinary. But I believe that this conversation that we'll have will really cause a move in people's spirits. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Noks. Ubanu Noks, who's Noks?
Let the people know.
So my name is Noks Xulu, ngumangubane wakakulu. And I am a child of God. I was raised by two parents, and I'm grateful that I have lived my whole life with my parents. And it's one of the things we've always, both you and I, only until recently, that we are blessed to live half a century with our parents, which is not something that is usual. So I grew up in a township in Lamontville. I have my siblings, 2 sisters and a half brother. And as we were growing up, we did not have a lot, like many of us in those apartheid era. We did not have a lot, but we had parents that showed us love, that showed us how to be united and be one solid form, that showed us how to be ambitious and look for things that will build us, not just us, and leave legacy, continue live the legacy that our parents strive for in their lives. So I grew up in that setting, not without any challenges, not without any troubles, but an environment which said, push. No matter the surroundings, what other people are saying, be focused and push for whatever ambition that you have. So I went to school. I'm qualified in sales and marketing. I specialized in particularly sales. As I started my work as a customer manager, eventually I became national customer manager. But I went to schools in Lamontville. I studied my university at Mangosuthu Technikon. So all the way up, there was a lot of teachings that I got along the way, and I never stopped being ambitious. But I am now a mother of 4. I am a wife.
As stunning as ever with the mother of 4. Yeah.
Thank you, my sister. And they're all now all grown up people and individuals who have authorities in their own rights and leading their own lives. I am an author. I've written books in parenting. I've written books in relationships, especially marriage relationships, because there's so much dynamic that happens there.
Yeah.
And I'm currently busy with my current book, which is on business, especially a psychology of a startup. So I'm busy with that book right now, and I believe that I don't just wake up and just write a book and send it through. Sometimes you need to live in a book before you write the book. So it does take me long for me to publish a book, mainly because I want to, make sure that I pour myself out, and I find I find inspiration from all sorts of. I'm writing a business book, but I may find an inspiration from nature, So I allow myself that space to produce a book which would be meaningful, not just for me, for the people who will be reading that book. What else about me? I'm just a humble Noks. That's what.
Okay. So Noks, there is Noks from Lamontville, okay? And then Noks goes into the workplace. And Noks becomes very successful in the workplace.
Yeah.
Moving yourself from coming in as a newbie, having graduated from university, you climbed the ladder quite quickly.
Yes.
And got to the highest echelons. When I met you at Craft Food, if I'm not mistaken. And already at that time, you were already a senior sales manager. And then you move from there to other companies where you are now leading a group of salespeople, teams of just as successful people, but they are now reporting to you as their manager.
Yes.
So that is where I want us to start. When you think about that period, Noks, I want you to help me understand, whose definition of success were you living by?
Yeah. You know, that is a very intellectual question.
Yeah.
But honestly, if I reflect, I realize that so many things we think we're doing it just because we have an ambition, but it makes me go back and think, really, who is it was I doing it for? And I do see traces of the people or circumstances I had to climb the ladder quickly, be an achieved a career person within a business setting at a very young age. I was still very young. In our late 20s,
Yeah.
we're already leading teams.
Exactly.
So with that, I believe that firstly, because of our upbringing as Black people, I had to prove it that a Black girl can do it. I had to prove it, not just for me, for other girls, for my parents, to make them proud. So everything that I did was for those people. And also for our counterparts who have been living this life before, you know, our other races who have already tasted this life before. I had to prove to them that I can be par with them, no matter my background. So yes, I was doing it for those people, my peers, the people, the younger generation than me, my parents, to make them proud, and for my counterparts to see that I am something. I'm a human being who is as capable, if not better.
And why was that so important to you, Noks? To prove to everyone that you...
We were raised in a society which had, in South Africa particularly, which had inequalities, so much inequalities. So almost automatically, that was innate in me to say that whilst I am aware of these inequalities, I am the one who has to contribute in showing that we are as capable as they could be.
What did this power mean to you, my friend?
Sure. To be honest with you, I didn't really realize it as power at the beginning. I just wanted to get my family out of poverty line. So in the beginning, it was not about how much power I would have.
Yeah.
I realized it when I'm already at it, because I wanted to do an honest day's job, and I wanted to do it.
Take your parents out of poverty.
Out of poverty.
Yeah.
So by doing my work and put in an excellent manner. So that's, whilst my parents were not really poor, but I could see what else that could be done to move us from a line where they were to the next line in such a way that, as an example, when my parents bought their second home, their dream home, I had to sign on those lines as well, to show that they are capable, they can afford to get that property in terms of the bank funding approvals. So for them to get that mortgage, I had to be part of the signing, because I was already working. I was 21 years old, and they wanted this dream home with like bigger rooms, not the makeshift that my dad was trying to do, So eventually they bought this nice home, and they could not afford if I was not part of that deal, So power, I realized it when I was already leading the teams, that I have got so much influence in these teams, and my decisions are impacting even the rands and cents of the company. Especially when you are in sales, there's a lot at stake, because the buck stops with you. The marketing team can produce this beautiful value proposition, but it is up to a salesperson to make sure that these products get legs, they reach where they're supposed to reach, and they bring in profits, and of course long-lasting customer base. So that's when I realized, Haibo, I get power, imagine. I can change things, Thank goodness for the parents that God gave us. Ukuthi was basikhulisa ngendlela ukuthi our values, we had to remain grounded no matter how high we could soar, but we still have that grounding to say you can't take the power and put it into your head and make it rule your everyday decision. So I'm thankful for those values. Yeah.
So it's interesting, Noks, that you would say something like that, because for us, I mean, I worked with you at Craft Food, and what I saw was this amazing woman, very confident, quietly so, but very confident, and your presence was felt. You led brands that were successful in their own rights. The sales, they were growing market share, they were present on shelf. I mean, I can think of the likes of Real Baking Powder. I can think of Toblerone chocolates. You were the power of Jacob's coffee.
When it just arrived.
When it just arrived in the country, and you were the powerhouse behind that, ensuring that it's landed, go ShopRite or Pick n Pay. So for me, you were outrightly successful. But what I'm interested in finding out, so here is the success that all of us are looking at. What didn't people see?
It's a very shy Noks. I was very shy. I was intimidated. I was scared under my skin. I remember when I got to craft, I was the first. I know people don't like to talk about the first, but what I'm trying to get to, you will see that being the first means that there is no other prototype before you. So I was very scared, because I knew I was carrying not just me, I was representing all the people like me, like sisters, that will come after me. So I was a guinea pig sent before all of them in that company. And it was not just that one. I went on to work at Colgate-Palmolive, and the HR person there said to me, do you know that you are the first Black person to hold such a big account? And we know who's the biggest account in retail. You were the first Black person to just be in this department. So what I'm saying is that I was very scared, because at the back of my mind, I knew that they are experiencing this type of diversity for the first time.
Sure.
my counterparts had been exposed to business, either through their parents or through the society they grew up in. I wasn't. I only see my dad hustling after work, taking photographs, and my mom coming back to sit behind her sewing machine, and then she spins that wheel and produced masterpieces out of that machine.
Exactly.
You know, I don't remember my mom going to a wedding and wearing somebody else's dress, outfit, because she did it herself. Only now I realized, oh, that was, my mom actually was a fashion designer.
Yeah.
So I did not see anything further than that, except for a policeman, a social worker, a teacher, you know, a nurse. That's all I could be exposed to. And now I'm coming to these people who have been in business. They understand business principles. They understand what they had to do when they come across a certain situation. I had to learn those ropes from scratch. And no one was there, unfortunately, to hold my hand. Because you can go to school and study, but it's different when you're in a live, real world situation. So that's what inside. You saw a confident Noks outside, because even when things were tough, I had to wing it.
Wing it.
I had to wing it.
So that noise of like making sure that you are coming up as strong and confident.
And confident.
Yeah.
But there were moments where I would retreat and find a very intimidated and shy Noks. I remember my first business mentor was Barry Iliff, and I'm grateful for
Remember
him.
Barry, yes.
That is the person who discovered me. That is a person, okay, fine, I had worked for Unilevers in the past and I've been doing the work, but he helped me see me for who I am and the value of what I bring into the dynamic of the team. In terms of diversified type of thinking, because I would look at things in a totally different eye, because the people that we're selling to, I had I was a direct descendant from those people. So I was a voice of umama obhakayo ekhaya, osebenzisa lo baking powder sudayisa la ekhaya. So I was a voice for that mother. I was a voice for that daughter who enjoys Manhattan sweets. So I could bring a different dynamic to the team. So Barry helped me. He was my first professional mentor who led me and pushed me to greater heights. I remember he said to me, when you'd remember that we'd have our vice president coming down to South Africa from the US, we will shake in our pens, we'd have to present to them our plans. And I was so scared. And I confessed to Barry. I said, Barry, Mr. B, I remember we called him, Mr. B, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm so scared. And he said to me, but there are people like you. I will never forget that. Since that day, I never looked back. I never entertained my intimidation. I never entertained my shyness anymore. I came out even more braver, because he said to me, but there are people like you. I looked at him. I looked at these people. I looked at this presentation.
You realized that they're actually...
And I realized they're ordinary people. Exactly.
So Noks, I find it quite interesting that you're saying that deep down you were very scared. But obviously you played a role. For us, like I'm saying, honestly, it's a shock to me that you were saying you were scared. You came across as confident. You came across as strong. I don't want to lie, because that environment was not an easy environment to be in, especially for us Black females. So on the outside, you clearly were performing strength. And I'm saying it this deliberately, that you were performing strength, because you say to me that deep down you were scared. What did performing the strength cost you?
Yeah, it cost a lot. I probably would not be able to share everything right here and now. But I do understand that it cost a lot, because when you venture into a decision of making it in your career and climbing the ladder, there are people who get affected. Your family first gets affected. The society you come from, they look at you with a different eye now, because I always believe that the job and the person becomes one. And for you to perform, because that's what we are measured upon, on performance. For you to perform at work, for you to perform for growth, you have to wear a certain persona. You have to be in a certain role. And sometimes it's a very thin line to distinguish between the time when you're playing a role and when you're becoming yourself.
Sure.
In fact,
Yeah.
I think Busitin Bagayo mentioned this, is that we are in a role. When we are hired, you are hired into a role. And it's true. We are performing. We like artists in that manner. So now, the people that get affected, as I said, people that are close to you, that ball that we used to call a crystal ball, that's when you're juggling all the other balls. If it falls, it cracks. That's the ball that gets affected the most. And sometimes you have to walk on eggshells to protect this ball as you're busy juggling other balls.
Definitely.
So that's what it cost me. I found myself exhausted from a lot of my thinking and a lot of my performance.
And it took away from the time you spent.
It took away from time I spent with them. I had to wear a facade at some point, because I'm coming from a very demanding environment at work. Back home, I can't really relax, because then it means that I have to work 3 times better than my counterparts.
And it's true. They always say that the people that get the most affected by our strength are the crystal balls that you were talking about, our families, because suddenly you can't shake whatever it is that you've been going through, and therefore the people that are the most affected by the stress to you are these people.
Yes.
Because you are spending time performing what's not you.
That's not me. So I'm just grateful that my family were understanding in my growing and within my career and climbing the ladder. So I'm grateful that they were in a position of understanding, and they were accommodating. We had to find means to, find time together. That included, when we had dinner, we all sit around the table. That way we can interact with each and every member of the family, and we can see when there's someone who has had a bad day, or who's going through a rough patch for whatever is happening in his or her life during that season of her life. So you find tactical ways to find each other in our and bring and people who would bring you back into yourself, and into the setting of the family.
So let me go back to what I said. Externally, Noks looks very, very successful. Externally, Noks is getting the claps, the accolades. You are now starting to be known out there.
Yes.
When you talk about a salesperson, Noks's name comes up. So there's this noise. Noise can be powerful, right? Because it's pushing you, it's propelling you, it's applauding you, it's making you feel like you're big. Now, what I'm wanting to find out is, in all the success, when did external applause stop matching your internal rate, whatever it is that you were feeling internally? What was the turning point for you?
COVID.
Oh. Wow. Okay. COVID.
And we all
Yeah.
was affected by COVID. We were all affected by COVID.
Yeah.
Ne? COVID-19. So now I'm a Tiger Brands and I'm working hard. I'm having like a 10 to 12 hour day. Working from home.
Yeah.
You can't separate and distinguish between work and home.
Yeah.
Everything is now intertwined. And during that time, okay, I persevered through the actual COVID, but eventually when we were getting eased from those, what did you call them? The lockdowns.
The lockdowns, yes, yeah.
When we get the ease from the lockdown, we started to relax a bit, and we had those hybrid situations. You're at the office today, you're not at the office. I couldn't connect anymore with the environment.
Okay.
I couldn't connect with the environment because I realized that I'm not aligned. What we just discussed now in terms of performance and authenticity, there was something missing in this whole equation now. The equation was broken. And when the equation is like that in your mind, and then your spirit is affected, your soul is affected, your body gets affected. That's when you start saying what is happening internally.
Yeah.
So I stopped when I felt in my body numbness from my left side. I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
So it meant that I was not going to be able to use my left side.
Sure.
But thank goodness for the doctors, and I did not let it be. I went straight to the doctor. I said, Doc is a good friend of mine. We are same age with her. I said, Doc, I have this numbness and I don't know where is it coming from. And she said, yeah, had you taken longer to come to me, you would have had a stroke.
Wow. Sure. So the success was costing you?
The success was costing me. The success was costing me. So I sat back and said, I looked at my talent card. You know, we used to fill out the talent card where when you say all the things that you want to become within the business. I realized that the businesses that we worked for, the corporations, these big corporations, they did not allow us to be who we are. That they may then ride upon those gifts, those strengths, because they will come so easily innate from our, core. If we're allowed to be. But because we are looked at as performers, performing their roles, all of that could have benefited them was not taken into account. And it was not going to change because I said so. So the only thing was then for me to jump the ship.
On that note, it's interesting that you are saying that, Noks. So you are basically saying, because you spent so much time performing, the real Noks was not appreciated in this workplace.
Yes.
And because you couldn't bring the real Noks into the workplace, it impacted other areas. Hence the reason why you were misaligned and your body showed that there was that misalignment.
Absolutely.
Let's expand a little bit on that one. I would like to know, what did you have to unlearn in that moment about power?
It's that the power is perceived, firstly.
Okay.
Power is perceived. What I can perceive as power might not be as powerful to you, and vice versa. So I realized that the facade of the power that I was holding on to was not the power that I'm hoping to leave behind as a legacy.
Yeah.
So the perceived power that I had held on to with my all was behind the artist Noks, who was performing a role. Of course, that power came with Pexne.
Yeah, it did. I mean, a very
Very fat
Yes.
big check.
Yeah. But it cost.
It cost me. So those are the things that I had to unlearn. That power is perceived. The power that I'm holding on to now is what I perceive it to be. Because if you ask Uma Osemsinga, who is raising grandchildren, has got a totally different perception of power. Because her power is in ensuring that these children become what she could never even imagine, what she had never even dreamt of. So for her, when she sees that this child is graduating at UKZN or wherever in the world, at Oxford, she's got power.
Yeah.
So power is perceived.
Yeah.
I had to unlearn that. And I had to unlearn to link power with what I would get now, instant gratification, what I'm receiving now. To link power with materialism. I had to unlearn materialism. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm touched by that. So you spoke about this perceived power. Now you are in the process of shedding.
Yeah.
And you are in the process almost like of at a crossroads where you are thinking, this is costing me, hence my left whatever. But also at the same time, this enticement of the fat paycheck at the end of the month. Was there something else that you were afraid? Was there someone you were afraid you would disappoint by shedding the power? Let's talk about that.
My husband
Okay.
was the first person. My children, because I understood that they might not be getting all these niceties that they used to get. And my husband had to carry us now. Remember, we were building it's very early in our lives. Early, I mean, 20 years ago. Our take home was 100,000.
Wow.
Then take home was 100,000.
So now you have to let go of all of that.
Now I have to let go a portion of that. It's now 15 years later when I had to take that decision. I had to sit him down because I know he was the first person, who would be directly impacted by my decision. So I had to sit him down, present my case, which he actually have been saying along the way, when we, when I had challenges at work, when even though I'm performing, I'm doing well, because you can't hide, the numbers tell it all. So you can't hide when you are in sales. So I was making it, even over COVID, people were still buying our products and I was still bringing in sales. But he could see the pain whilst I was doing that. He could see that I was undergoing pain and strife with lots of different issues, during that time. So I had to, bring him into understanding, on the same page with me, how I feel, and that I can't be strong for everyone when they could lose me, And we actually took a decision that I would just take a sabbatical. So we had planned it properly, and we had, put funds aside for BAF, and we thought, man, this can be possible. It's a sabbatical. You see, after 6 months, what happened. But then years later, I'm here. I never went back.
Sure. So Noks, you leave this powerful job. You are realizing I'm not aligned. There is noise coming from all angles. Noise of applause, noise of the powerful paycheck, noise of materialism, entrapping you into this life.
Yeah.
Then you leave all of that behind. You start something else. What gave you permission? Why did you finally feel this is now the right time for me to jump and do Noks?
Yeah, it's because of the journey that has been so long, and I felt that we had made good plans as a family for me to be able to just, shift. That was the first thing. And remember, as I was saying, that I thought it was just a sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ended up being, now I'm going into my 5th year.
Mm.
So during that time, from when I had left, remember, it's a red race. You go. And when I stopped, I could exhale. I could become myself again. There was no role to play, no performance to perform, no artistry. It was then the time for me to sit and relax and do whatever that I wanted to do. Because I was this ambitious person, I could sit and review myself. I'm not scared to go within.
So what did you discover?
I discovered that I'm a sleeping giant.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I love that. Uh-huh.
I discovered that I'm a sleeping giant.
Yeah.
And that during my time for sabbatical, I need to pay it forward because of the experience that I've got. Let alone qualifications, just the experience. So I aligned myself with young entrepreneurs because I believe that, as we would say, that we come from the school of hard
knocks. That is so true. Oh my goodness.
When you are in big corporates,
Uh-huh.
you are in a second university or a secondary level type of university. Because there's a lot that you learn there on the job. And what you learn backed up by your academics,
Mm-hmm.
you become a giant almost automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever who's worked in corporate is a gem, especially for us and Black people, because it is not the things that we had been exposed to, especially our generation,
Mm-hmm.
Generation X, and the ones prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that I am a sleeping giant, and I can make use of my experience, and to pass it on,
Mm-hmm.
to impact other people's lives that are coming up. These young kids are brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
They are brilliant with the ideas that they come up with, starting their own businesses from no knowledge whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So what I could come at is to assist them and structure their businesses for them to not think of their businesses as a lifestyle business, to assist them to grow their businesses into, a viable ventures. So I did that, and I continue to do that. And I realized, interacting with them, I was also being broken down.
Sure.
My stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
I was working. Yes, I was running a business, but it was in a bubble, a protected a space.
That had a guaranteed
That
paycheck at the end of the month.
At the end of the month.
Yeah.
Unlike them, if they do not go out there and hustle or do something, there's no invoice that they're going to receive. So I relearn a different perception on hard work. I relearn on tenacity. I relearn on resilience. I relearned on not quitting, pushing forward. So I was being built myself, and I allowed myself to break down.
Yeah.
The Noks that I knew, who had the authority and power that was on my hands, I had to let go of that power and break myself down to a level of almost nothingness, so that I can be a sponge again.
Yeah.
Because in that bubble I worked in, I knew that I was going to be able to say, here is my proposal. I need R500,000, and my return on investment is X, and I will bring in X amount of revenue,
And you get it.
and I get it. And I get it. I mean, I've done it before, so there was no like, why now, and no hesitation from the people who would give me that guarantee. Unlike here, you knock at the door, you know how good you are, but it doesn't open. You knock at the next door, and then the following door. So to find at the end of the day that you're probably gonna be redirected, you had to pivot.
Yeah.
Altogether. After the perseverance. So yeah.
Now tell me, Noks, you move from this power that is forcing you to play because of the noise. You've now shed all of it because you are realizing it's costing you. Now the power dynamics shifts. What does power look like for you now? Now that you have broken yourself down to nothingness and you are now a sponge that's rebuilding, what does power look like?
I'm even scared of using the word power anymore, to be honest. Because I realize that the power is I want to put it, power is adaptability. That's power. If you allow yourself to have that fluidity and to be able to navigate different situations, different people,
Mm.
and be able to still forge forward.
That's power. Eesh. So it ceased being about material gains.
No material gains, no specific positions, because disruption comes anytime. I think COVID-19 told us that. It taught us that disruption can be beyond what you could ever perceive, you could ever think of or imagine.
What matters to you now, Noks?
It's legacy.
Yeah.
What matters to me now is, what legacy am I building? Because I believe I'm still in a process of recalibration. I'm recalibrating, and calibration is about you pausing. So allow myself from time to time a moment to pause, reassess, and adjust how I look at my path. In the last 4.5 years, I don't know how many times I've done that. Be it's me discovering my customer, or it's me discovering my next gift. Because I found that I have so many gifts that were there and I had not tapped into.
Because you were enticed by this.
Because I was enticed by this materialism and what I can get now, and what futures I can build based on this a power of being in authority and leading a big and important teams within big and important businesses of the world.
So if I'm hearing you well, what you've just said, Noks, is quite powerful for me. So you are basically saying, in shedding off this power that is very attractive on the outside, you almost suppressed the inner giant in you that was waiting to emerge. And the emergence of that inner giant also had to come with your realization that materialism is basically not the way that it's going to get you there. And for you to leave a strong legacy, and a legacy that's going to last, it's about now shedding off all this noise, rebuilding yourself from scratch, allowing the authentic you to emerge, and finding the talents that are basically going to make a difference and leave a strong legacy.
Yes.
And it took you to say, I'm letting go of this power, perceived power, so that I can discover who I truly am.
Yes. Matthew 6:33 says, seek the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Oh my goodness.
So that the God in me,
Sure.
I had to seek the God in me and find power within that kingdom, because the kingdom is within. The God in me and the righteousness of that kingdom is within me. Chinese, they talk about a yin yang. We do have the dark side and the brighter side within us. So the God in me and the righteousness, focusing on the lighter side, and not look at all the dots, the dark dots, because I'm wearing cream here, cream and white. If there's a dot here, you would see that I know this thing is spoiled. No. So I had to go back to that, seeking God and his kingdom.
Sure.
Which I found that there is a whole empire inside of me. And that comes with a promise. And all these things shall be added unto you. Materialism and material things then
Come.
attracts, it comes to you. So you are not chasing it anymore.
Mm.
You are chasing the kingdom which is inside you.
Mm.
And as I was chasing the kingdom inside me, these material things, they now come chasing me, because now I am a light.
Mm.
Within myself, I am a salt.
What surprised you about this movement, about you? I mean, when you shared all of those things, what emerged? What surprised you?
What surprised me is that I've always looked at people, owning up on their careers, on their gifts. Let me put it that way. Their gifts. They find their gifts. They know it's their strong points. They work on them and they succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Take a soccer player or a rugby player.
Mm-hmm.
Sia Kolis.
Mm.
He played rugby from when he was young at school, and he realized this is the thing.
Mm.
And he focused on it.
Mm.
And he grew up and built upon it. And now he's a big giant that the whole world knows.
Mm-hmm.
Even his leadership came out of him focusing on just this one talent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different with me. God blessed me with a lot of talents,
Mm-hmm.
which, of course, as I just said, I had to go back within and search,
Mm-hmm.
because other people would say to me, including my family, but you are just all over. You are there, and then you don't seem like you're interested in that, and then you're there, and then you're there, and then
The noise again.
the noise again.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to silence that noise
Mm.
when I was going deep down within me.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that not all of us will be privileged. I don't know if it's a privilege or not,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but not of us will be privileged to find the one thing when we are young that will propel us and bring us to greater heights.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us may have to tap onto
Different things.
different things. But the mission for me, as I look back, was that I must finish what I start. So this is one thing I ensured that I do before I move on to the next thing. Michelle Obama said we can have everything, but not everything at the same time. I didn't know this is now coined recently, but it was something that was within me, because my parents taught me that whatever you start,
Finish.
you must finish.
Yeah.
So when I realized that I have a different interest, I ensured that I complete what I had started.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as I'm looking at the rearview mirror, I realize that all of those things were building what I would become. A very complex, I don't want to say person, but a very complex machine that is supposed to complete a different mission. And I eventually find a way to coin this, and there's a term which is a polymath. And I started embracing that.
Wow. What does it mean?
That you cannot box me. A polymath it came from Da Vinci's, who were the artists and the scientists. So it just means that you can go and check deeply in the dictionary, but it means that you are a person with different types of gifts that eventually become a beautiful tapestry or a beautiful mosaic tile, coming from all broken pieces of tiles, and you build up this beautiful marble, whatever type of a mosaic tile. So that's what a polymath is, if I can, illustrate it that way. And I've started to embrace that I'm a serial master.
Yo, that's actually quite interesting. As we're approaching the end, you've uncovered layers to you. So I'm starting to feel a threat that's coming through. You had this power, and because of the way that you are built, you were going to succeed in that power.
Yes.
But then the power and the noise around the power was costing you, because actually deep down, you are not meant to be boxed. And being a fantastic sales person was boxing you to sales.
Yes.
And nothing else. And therefore it was misaligned with where you wanted to go. So you had to silence that for you to discover that you are actually this myriad of things.
Yes.
Because you are fluid, don't want to be boxed. That's powerful. What legacy do you want to leave behind?
And I don't want to think of, okay, I've already spoken to myself on this one. And I'm starting the sentence in the middle.
Yeah.
You see how polymaths think?
Yeah, exactly.
So I in terms of the legacy that I want to leave behind, I don't want us to look at legacy in physical terms and tangible terms.
Yeah.
Legacy for me goes way beyond what you can see and touch. Proper inheritance that you leave for your children. Legacy for me is something that is not also tangible, but something that is a seed. It's a seed that you will plant, or I will plant, and at the right time will germinate and multiply into profitable fruits for the generation to come. Not necessarily by blood, but the generation by spirit as well. Because we are spirit beings before we are in this flesh. We are fleshy and can, distinguish this is Noks in person. So that's type of a legacy that I want to leave. And that legacy says that you can have humility and still become a great person. Contrary to the past beliefs that we found in the marketplace and where we worked in corporates, that you must be strong and even your tone of voice must show a certain type of strength and command. Even the way you talk, you change the language and swear, So humility means that you are grounded, but you still are a force to be reckoned with. I want to leave that type of a legacy, to say there were people like Noks, or Mother Noks, or Auntie Noks, who would you can pass her along the streets and not know who she is. There were people like Auntie Thuli, Mam Thuli, Sis Thuli, who you would pass along the streets and not even notice who they are until you come close to them and experience them for who they truly are. So I want to leave that humility. I want to leave a legacy of promoting authenticity. That out of authenticity is when you really find yourself. And that people mustn't be too scared to keep tabs with what they
Have inside, yeah.
Have inside the God that is inside them. I want for people to be who generations that will come after me to then benefit out of the things that I have started. To say that we can build upon this business idea. We can build upon this societal, what you call it, umqondo.
Yeah.
Yes,
The brains, yeah.
The brains behind what drives the society. I want people to build upon that. That is why I advocate for parity. a lot. I mentor parents. I've written books, as I said, Ordained Parents, Power Tools for Purposeful Parenting. Because that's a type of a legacy for a parent to know that no, I need now to change and become a certain person for me to allow myself to lead this seed, to raise this child, because the child, you're just a custodian. They are passing through. Tina nawe amaseka abantu bethu manje, because they're already
Gone.
They're gone. They're gone forever. They come to us as a cushion to say, okay, ma, bouncing off their ideas and what they think of life. So that's a type of legacy I want to leave behind.
And it's quite interesting that I think you've actually done so, because there's a common thread that goes across everything that you have done. You wrote the book Ordained Parenting. You then also wrote another book about the sound system of a marriage language. All of those are talking about allowing the God inside you to emerge so that you can be a better person for those. And then you've gone into sales, and you are now the business that's giving you cash, for lack of a better word, is the business that has to do with sales. But what I've found quite interesting with your approach again is the approach based on nurturing the God inside, because it's in doing so that you will then be able to make a lasting legacy.
Yes.
So you've done that. And I look forward to seeing you explode on that one as well. As a parting shot for me, one question I have for you. If you were granted a gift of going back in your timeline and sit down with the 8-year-old Noks, what would you tell her?
I'll tell her a lot of things. But I have to bring it down and condense it. I'm trying to go back and think, what did I do when I was 8? What did I think of when I was 8? I got matured very young. Also because I'm a firstborn at home. So there's this innate leader that had to emerge out of me all the time. Also pushed by our parents, because half the time they were at work.
Yeah.
So I had to, see to it that others are okay. As young as 8, I remember I could carry my younger sister to bed. And when she had fallen asleep on a sofa, not a couch, a sofa. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
So carry her to bed, I had physical strength. I still do, but that's when I started to realize that I have physical strength. I was acrobatic, and I played a lot of sports. So at that time, I was a person who was already ambitious to the things that I could, do, because now I could realize, oh, okay, I'm strong, So I would tell her that don't dim the spark. Don't dim the spark. The intimidation that I found myself into when I was, working in my later years and leading teams and sitting with big vice presidents in the same room from all over the world, from the US at the time, perhaps it wouldn't have been there as much had I not allowed my 8-year-old self to dim. Because it took a lot for me to go back
and find the light.
And find the light again and be this strong person that I was built to be. Because I was built a strong person. Of course, we start seeing that by physical strength and all that. But it's something that's a confidence that exudes from inside. I used to have street fights. I never used to speak a lot at all. I'm actually an introvert. And the only time I could display how powerful I
Mm.
was through street fights. I used to fight my peers like nobody's business.
Mm.
You are a boy, you are a girl, it doesn't matter. You are older, you are younger.
Mm.
I will find a way to bring you down,
Mhm.
you know. So I would not, okay, of course, I would go to jail now. But but I would not, I would tell her to continue in that strength. Khona iculo esilicula sithi hamba ngalawo mandla.
Yeah.
So I would encourage her to walk within that strength, and not
dim the light. Wow. We end here. We've heard from Noks, a very beautiful story of power, a very beautiful story of rediscovering, a very beautiful story of recalibrating, but more than anything, a very beautiful story of realizing that it is only when you shed off what is taking away from you and silencing that noise so that the God in you, as you said, can emerge, that you can leave a lasting legacy, a legacy of building, of sowing that seed so that when it grows and germinates, it impacts everyone around them.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. That was fantastic.
Thank you for having me, and congratulations.
My first one.
You have begun.
Thank you.
No looking back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.